geek news from across the Nostalgiaverse. They are Jacob's Toys and SuperSorrell. So strap yourselves in for the weekly live show that brings you toy news, TV and movie reviews, special guests, opinions, tangents, and bad impressions. Reveals, releases, thoughts, and maybe dreams. So prepare yourselves for the Geek Week in Review. Live.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Geek Week with me, Jacob's Toys, and of course, wonderful one and only SuperSorrell. This is the Geek Week, our weekly show where we talk about everything going on in the world of geek, whether it be movies, toys, TV, comic books, you name it, we talk about it. Each week we have a theme, and this week's theme is Top 10 Marvel Legends Fails. Little disclaimer. We're not bashing Hasbro at all. These are just the top 10. And you kind of get a 2-for-1 deal here, actually, because we've got a list of 10 each. It's top 20, if you like, fails. So just things that, you know, where they missed the mark and stuff like that. But we'll get into that very shortly. If you're new to the show, then please do check out a link in the description. Give us a follow, share, like, all that kind of thing across our various different social media channels. And as we say all the time, we go out across a bunch of different places, be it Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, all those kind of places. So we do our best to kind of streamline the comments. If you've got something to say, throw it in the comments and we'll do our best to keep it in the show. If, however, you are watching us on catch up, like we know a lot of you do, Mr. Sorrell, what do they need to say?
Hashtag catch up crew.
Hashtag catch up crew. There we go. But yes, it's been a good week, but I'm really looking forward to this particular list. It's going to be quite fun.
Sorry for being overly animated. It's just that I watched the show back the other week and you were doing this spiel at the beginning and I was like this. And I was like, that looks really bad. Like I'm watching your little window. I'm like one of the viewers just watching the show.
That's like me. I'm always watching you. I never actually watch what I'm doing. So yeah, there we go.
I watched it back the day. It's just me slumped in my chair going.
Give me 2 seconds. Have a quick chat. I'm going to just post something so that we. How's your week been though?
It's been good, man. It's been good. I've been shopping twice. I went to Smith's like loads of times because they keep releasing stuff. And do you know what comes out this week? Next week technically, but tomorrow.
Go on.
Friday. Hopefully we'll be getting the brand new Lego minifigures of the Dungeons and Dragons line.
Oh, is that coming out already?
That comes out on. Hopefully, it's meant to officially out Sunday. But what happens usually is Smiths go, it's this weekend, we'll put them out on Friday. So yeah. I'm just watching Smith's online stock locator to see when it pops up, but I will be banging on those bad boys before I get away. Because I want to grab those in here.
Are they based on the movies, the games? Where are they?
These are for These are based on the official Dungeons and Dragons, Wizards of the Coast books and all that good stuff, the original game. Because you've got like the Witch in there, you've got the Beyonder, you've got all the big characters that are kind of from the books and the games. So this is nothing to do with the movie. This is these are to go with that big like 300 quid set that they released that I keep looking at every time I go into Lego store and drooling over it.
Have you seen the Nightmare Before Christmas Lego set?
It looks amazing.
You know what, it does, but I'm a little bit disappointed because it was obviously an ideas, Lego ideas, wasn't it? And the guy that created the Lego ideas, if you go back and look at his original one, it's huge, like massive. And this is really scaled down. But it retails at about 170, 175, something like that. So it's still a pricey enough Lego set, but at the same token, affordable enough. If that makes sense.
Well, I was looking, and I've been looking at that Lego Hocus Pocus set now for years. I keep looking at it every time I go.
It looks good.
It's amazing. But the thing is, I've noticed it's like 200 quid over here, but it's $200 in America. Same price, just in dollars. So that makes it a little bit cheaper. So I'm tempted to pick it up while I'm in the States.
Okay, now that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
So I'm going to Disney Springs to go pick up the... because they've got the big Lego store there, so like, where better to pick up Hocus Pocus than on Disney property?
Disney Springs, aka lose all your money because everything looks amazing. It's, you know, that I love Disney Springs.
Do you know, mate, it's going to be worse this year for me. It's going to be even worse because I'm going to Universal, which means Marvel, It means Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, the Halloween Horror Nights is on right now, so all the horror merch is out. Universal Monsters. I'm going to be so poor when I come home. Harry Potter. I'm going to be so poor.
Yeah. I love Disney. Can't wait to go back again.
Although I get mad at my wife at the Harry Potter thing. I get mad at my wife every time we go because she buys a chocolate frog every time we go because of course you do because you're in the Harry Potter land. And it says on the bottom of it, made in Oxford, meaning that thing has come all the way from the London studios all the way to America for us to buy it to bring it all the way back to England.
Yep.
Stupid.
But it's so much better eating it out there. It's so much better, isn't it? You're in Harry Potter world. That's cool. Pickup wise then, so you've been shopping?
Yeah, I've been shopping.
But I've got a few things. The first one I've added to my little shelf of unboxed figures.
Yeah.
Mr. Bison. Nice. He's pretty cool. Yeah, do you want to have a look?
Yeah, pass it over, man. Let me have a look.
I'll just pass it over there for you. There you go. Look. He's quite cool, isn't he?
Nice, that one, man. It's nice.
He's
Thanks
cool.
for that.
Look at that. Amazing editing. Yeah, no, it's a very cool figure, isn't it? It's a very cool figure. But he can. For me, he goes on my shelf of unboxed ones.
If we don't edit that into a short for this week, I don't know what is the better thing to do.
Oh, I know that's a brilliant.
I don't know how we did that so seamlessly.
that was really good. That was really good. And I know I spoke last week that Comics and Cocktails were doing a Indiana Jones thing, weren't they? So nice. I got sent to. I got this one, which is Helena Shaw from. I can't remember what film she's from.
Oh, she's from the newest one, isn't she? The Dial of Destiny or something.
Is she that one? Because the artifact that you build is the skull.
Yeah.
So there we go. So and I've got the others. I've got Short Round. I've got Temple Indy. I've got Dial of Destiny Indy, and now I've got Helena Shaw. But of course, that means that I was missing one other one, which is Shirtless Indy. So Shirtless Indy is in the house. But Comics and Cocktails were doing this really cool little giveaway where they were sending out free figures as well. And that they sent me a little Dr. Henry Senior retro figure.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm pretty chuffed with that. Thank you very much, Comics and Cocktails. I don't collect the retro line, but these are still about 15 quid in places like Game and stuff. Yeah, but yeah, he's pretty cool. He comes with his little umbrella, and yeah, I mean, as far as a retro figure goes, he's pretty cool. But I don't know, I might do him on a giveaway or something because I'm not sure I'll do much with him. But yeah, but that was it. The only other thing that I got, and you must have seen my videos.
Yeah,
you must have seen the videos and the posts, but. Oh, it's all falling apart. The ramen racer is in the house.
I'm super.
This thing is phenomenal. It really is. It's next level. It's lights and sound. Like all the flame bits have they all light up and everything. Like it really is next level. But I'm going to do a full video on it so that I can really kind of showcase it because it's so cool. Like there's so many interchangeable parts. The detail on it is phenomenal. Like I've never seen a 1/12 scale kind of collectible with this amount of detail. And of course I've got my own little custom Robbie Reyes, and RDJ done me a head ages ago, but the ramen toy head came in, and it's just.
That looks just like the Midnight Suns game version. That is spot on to the game.
It's got an articulated jaw as well. But it's such a good head sculpt. Like just such a good head sculpt. It's so clean. So yeah. So that's my Robbie Reyes and my what should I call it? Ramen racer. I'll call it a ramen racer. I don't want to call it anything that's going to get me in trouble with anyone.
Would you like a little preview?
Go on in.
So everyone in the chat as well is going to get a little preview because my video goes live at midnight. It's only a few hours away. But today I got very excited because I went on Smith's Locator because there's another Smith's hunt coming up tonight at midnight. And I went on their Locator because you know that I got the Chica Five Nights at Freddy's Ruined Chica, which was the really like decayed looking, like they're broken to death. Well, I went on the Locator today. And they had Roxy and Eclipse both in stock. So I had to go and grab these. So these are from the Ruined DLC from Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. That rounds out the line. There's only 3 in this line. This is the
Oh,
last
cool.
time. This is the last time Funko will be making Five Nights at Freddy's figures. This is their last line because
Oh, right.
the master license has now gone to Jazzwares.
Interesting. We spoke about
So
that before, haven't we? So it's really
yeah,
interesting what they're going to be doing with it.
so I'm excited to see what they do because they're going to go into the whole world building idea. So they're going to do play sets and they're going to shrink because these, to be fair, these aren't 6 inch. These are about 5 inch. So to be
Yep.
fair, to shrink them a little bit more wouldn't hurt. And they're going to
Yep.
basically make 3 3/4 inch play sets.
Amazing.
What they've told us. So that's going to be amazing.
Hey, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Whilst when I was in there the other day, because I went to the one at Meadowhall on Saturday, and I just saw the bison on the set. They had Ken as well, but I did leave Ken behind. I've got to admit, I left Ken, and I'm not bothered for Dalsim, but I had to get bison.
Yeah.
And when I started looking at the back, I'm really looking forward to Zangief, Blanca, and Guile and Cammy. I think they're the next bunch that I want.
Yeah, I think they're next in line as well, and Vega as well.
Oh, you gotta get Vega.
Yeah. I haven't opened them yet, and I will get around to it. I am gonna get around to it, but I want to display them properly.
But mate, the day Bison came to your toy shelf was the most important day of your life. To me,
exactly. One of the best performances in a bad movie. What's interesting as well, we'll touch on it very quickly, but there has been a leak of Marvel Legends floating around the internet. We won't get into too much detail because
one thing I want to chat with you about, because we didn't get to chat about it the other night, I did post a video on it, but part of this big list leaked on Reddit, and it came from Displaying Model Behaviors channel, who's a friend of ours, Dave, out in Japan, and he got it from a contact supposedly. And again, we don't know the validity of it, no idea, but it's flown right around the internet like wildfire. Mm-hmm. And I was just surprised that it didn't come from Rectangular, because he's normally the guy with the inside scoop.
Yep.
But they mentioned about a Capcom wave. Now, I think it makes perfect sense, personally. Yeah, Jada Toys are already knocking out all these Street Fighter figures.
Yep.
But everyone's like, oh, it's going to be so cool because they're going to do this character and this character. I think, personally, they're going to focus on the Marvel vs. Street Fighter game, because they've already released all the figures from Street Fighter that were in that game.
Yep.
Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, Dalsim, Bison, Akuma. They're the 6 of the Capcom fighters from Street Fighter that was in the game, opposite the Marvel characters of Spider-Man, Cyclops, Gambit, Hulk, and Wolverine. They across them ones. And then you also got Red, what's it called? The X-Men villain. The Russian guy.
Omega Red.
Omega Red. He was in there as well.
Yep.
But I don't think he'll get a figure because I think he's too thingy. But I think the others, there's a very easy 5 or 6 figures there that Marvel could just repaint and pop out. Like, they've already done a cel-shaded version of Wolverine and Cyclops.
Yep.
That would work in that line.
The tools are there for characters like Omega Red because they've already done them a few times, so they could do.
Spider-Man. And, very easy.
It was this one for me that swung it, because this design of Cable, like, yes, it's the yellow and blue one that we got recently, but it's very much the Marvel versus Capcom version of Cable. Yes, we saw him in the comic books as well, but when you have kind of a number of different, so like in the comic books, there's a lot where he's got a sleeveless arm, and a lot of people were picking this figure up and then swapping the arm out for the sleeveless arm because that was a lot more comic book accurate. But if you look at the game had the sleeved arm, so this is already kind of in that line to stand next to these guys, and they are in scale, like they're the same scale. So it's an interesting leak if it is there. So yeah, we shall see.
Yeah, it was a very interesting little development, that one.
Let's give a couple of shout outs to people in the chat. Chat's kind of popping off a little bit. We got Andy Roberts there. We got Shelley. It started with a click. Dave Nipples, great name. Bethany Beth, Ezra Gantos, Toddwell, Sean the Sheep, Luna, 2K1. It changed the name a little bit, but it's good to see you. Who else we got there? I'm going through. Dumpster Diving Man. Love that name. That's cool. Bendy's there in the chat, as well as Axomations. Here's Lily. Yes, so we are going to go through them comments in a little bit. But there we go. Should we get on to our theme for this week?
Yeah.
let's jump onto that theme. So this is Marvel Legends fails, top 10 Marvel Legends fails. So once again, huge disclaimer, this is not us slagging off Hasbro or Marvel Legends. We're both big fans, but there are certain things that you could class as a fail where they've not quite hit the mark. They've not kind of done it the way that people expected them to do it, or they could have done it differently. So yeah, just what we class as kind of fails in the history of Marvel Legends. And you've got to bear in mind as well, Marvel Legends is a, you know, what, 20, 25 year
Yeah,
plus
and I've kind
line.
of chosen figures where I feel like they've missed the mark a little bit, or like this, or where they've not, where I feel that we've still not had the definitive version of that character.
Yep, which is cool. And I've picked up a couple of ones that I think are just fails for slightly different reasons. So that, you know, again, we're not bashing. If you're here because you think we're going to be bashing Hasbro, that's not what this show's about at all. But it's an interesting one. Do you want to start off with your first one?
Yes, my first one was Ghost Rider.
Okay.
Ghost Rider, just because I still don't think we've had, even though we've had so many, because they seem to jump around between the different Ghost Riders. I don't think we've had a definitive version of any of them yet. There's always been something with each of the releases that hasn't been quite right.
Yep.
And the bikes have never been quite accurate, and it's like the latest release. Whilst the new one looks cool, I still don't think that bike is anywhere near accurate to what it should be.
I'll argue with a little bit on this one. The Danny Ketch one, the latest one, I personally feel that it ticks the box for a comic book accurate Danny Ketch. But the thing is Danny Ketch isn't your first Ghost Rider. It's not the Ghost Rider that's used in a lot of the things like Midnight Suns and stuff like that. Like, you know, you need a Johnny. And rightfully so, when they did the Riders series and they gave us a Johnny Blaze and bike, the bike was nowhere near what it should be. Wasn't accurate to, you know, it looked like a bit of a mashup between Danny Ketch's bike and between Johnny's bike. So it was a bit of a mashup. I personally really like the new Danny Ketch one. You can't even see him because Bison's in the way. But I feel that they should have revisited the Blaze stuff before they kind of touched Danny Ketch, if that makes sense.
And I still can't believe we've not had a Reyes. I know they were trying to put him out with the car. And I know it's hard to do a Ghost Rider without the car, but obviously with the popularity of the video games now, the modern day Midnight Suns, it's him. In the comic books for the Midnight Suns, they portray Johnny as being an old grizzled old man now.
Yep.
And Robbie Reyes is the main.
Yep.
You know, the main biker now.
Well, that's the thing, and I don't know whether it's because of the HasLab and because of all that kind of stuff, but they haven't touched Robbie Reyes properly, like, and they really need to. But yeah, I don't know. But I do agree with you. I'd say what then? I'll make my number 10 Ghost Rider as well, and I will say the HasLab Hellcharger as a fail. The reason I say a fail is because it really divided the community. There were some people that were really behind it and really excited about it. Fans of Ghost Rider like myself, I was kind of like, this is great. We're going to get Robbie Reyes and his vehicle, because like you say, you can't really have a Robbie without the vehicle. But I think that it was pitched too high and the tiers didn't really make sense. And there was a weird kind of vibe to it the whole way along. And so I think that it was a fail because it's a product that clearly the collecting community wanted. Like, I'm not the only one with a Dodge Charger sat on my shelf now from another toy company. Mine, obviously, there were a couple that had done it, but Ramen Racer were the first to kind of release it after the HasLab didn't work. But clearly there is a gap in the market. Clearly there is a gap of collectors in the market that wanted that car. And so I feel that it's a fail for Marvel Legends, because I think if it had been pitched correctly, they could have cleaned up.
Yeah, it was the price for me on that one. It was very expensive for what
it was. I think it was about the 400 mark.
And how much did you pay for your third party one?
The Ramen Racer, originally they put that out at, I don't know now, because there were different tiers.
Yeah.
So the way that they did it is that they did like a base car offering, if memory serves me correctly. that was it was at least half the price of what the Hasbro one was. But then if you wanted the Inferno pack, that was an additional, I don't know, for argument's sake, like $50 or something like that. So you could kind of add up and kind of create a bigger product. But then obviously the bigger the product you created, the more you got. So it was almost like buy-in tiers.
Yeah, what I'm getting at is that was half the price of the Hasbro one, and that's from a small third-party company. It should be the other way around. Sure, you'd think the little guy would cost more to make when it's from a little company, but you'd think the bigger company could get away with making it cheaper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
More cost-effective because they've already got their stuff.
I think that's one of the reasons why I would list that as a fail, because the biggest complaint people had was the price. And like you just said, that, you know, a bigger toy company can do it, should be able to do it at less than a smaller toy company. The biggest thing was the price. Companies like Ramen Racer are now putting out an absolutely premium product. Like I cannot fault this at all. Like it's if you have a look at Ramen Toys Instagram or look at my Instagram, there's a video I've done that's on both channels, and it just kind of shows you what's in the box. But they've done an absolutely premium thing for a much less price, which has kind of highlighted that the bigger toy companies could have done it, and it's just kind of feeding that troll of people kind of going, oh well, they were being greedy and stuff. So
and the thing is for me as well, I think if Marvel Legends are now smart, if they played this smart, they would now very quickly put out a Robbie Reyes action figure on his own, because people now already have the Hell Charger.
Yep.
It just means it's a product they don't have to bother trying to recreate. They can just let the Hell Charger live on as the Ramen Racer, but put the Robbie Reyes out there. And I think people would buy it instantly to go with it.
And the last kind of element of fail to that HasLab for me was the tiers that they put out was the Goblin Queen, Damien, and Mephisto, and of course Robbie Reyes. And the kind of the way that they're always described is that they're exclusive to the HasLab. But we have since had a Goblin Queen, albeit it was the 97 version, but we've still got a Goblin Queen.
Yeah.
They've now announced Damien as part of the Stranger Tales wave. So Mephisto and Robbie, the two that people have been desperate for years, they haven't put out.
I know this is next week's show. We're gonna talk about predictions for Hasbro polls, but it's happening on Friday the 13th. That's all I'm saying.
Mephisto's
coming, baby.
Mephisto is coming. So yeah, there we go. The Hell Charger would be my first one.
Cool. My next one for me, Michael Morbius.
Okay.
As cool as the new animated one is, every time we've had a Morbius, it's slightly missed the mark every time. They've never quite made him how he looks in the comics. They've always tried to cartoonize him a little bit, or tried to make him look like the animated one, but now they have officially given us an animated one. The others have just looked like... The black leather one just looks like something out of an emo cartoon. Looks like something that Gerard Way would have drawn in 2004. For someone who's a big fan of the Night Stalkers, it's not. We need a proper Morbius.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I am
because if you look at the Mezco one by comparison, look at the Mezco one. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
that's how you do it.
I'm really surprised because Morbius. I'm surprised there wasn't more around him, even when the movie came out. I know, make what you want of the movie, but the movie was coming out. There was a lot of hype around Morbius. I'm really surprised that we didn't get more comic book stuff based on Morbius from Hasbro. I'll just kind of jump on that. But yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. Do you like the animated one? Are you a fan of the animated one?
Yeah. I'm hoping to get hold of that one. I'm waiting. I know it's a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. I have spoken to our little friends at Hasbro, and they are hoping they're going to get me one for me to review. So I'm hoping to get it that way. But if not, I'll buy one. I'll just have to buy one. But no, the cartoon one is by far the best one they've ever put out. Yeah. Because I know they've done the re-release one recently with the Spider-Man with the 5 arms or whatever, 6 arms. They kind of put that one back out, didn't they, with the old school Morbius from back in the day, now pinless. But that one's so old and outdated.
Yeah, I was there. To be honest, none of the Morbiuses that I've had filled that gap properly for me.
They've never
Right.
wowed, have they?
Yeah. I think that because of the type of character he is, you need like a really horror version of the character. Like I've read some really good Morbius comics over the time, and he looks a bit more scary than they're making him out in action figure form. So
Well, there's he's just becoming more and more popular as time goes on. Is Morbius? He's being used more and more, especially at the moment with the whole Blood Hunt storyline.
Yep.
He's one of the main pivotal characters in it alongside Blade, and
Yep.
he's just I can't believe we've not had a proper definitive figure yet for him.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, my number 9, in no particular order, but my number 9, I'm gonna say the very recent Outrider figures that they've announced, the 2-pack. I think these go up for pre-order like next week. So they are very recent. We haven't even had them in hand yet. But the reason I put them as a fail is that they are one figure that fans were crying out for a couple of years ago, like really calling out for. Like they were, the Outriders being the kind of alien army of Thanos in Endgame and Infinity War. And we got so many Infinity War and Endgame figures. It was such a big movie at the time. It still is such a big movie. And they gave us so many figures. We had the whole Children of Thanos twice. Like we had them as single releases and 2-packs and stuff. And then we got the Children of Thanos kind of big box set. And I think the Outriders would have been a really good addition to that kind of period of time of figures. And I don't understand why it's taken this long to do them, because they're alien-y looking characters at the end of the day. But yeah, why is Beth asking if we're going live?
I don't know. Beth's just going live. Like we are live, Beth.
I think we are live.
I think we're pre-recording this.
I think so. But like even for me, like I've got a big Endgame Infinity War collection up here with like every single one of the characters. But that movie is so old now that I'm going to move that display around and rejig it. I don't need to add more figures to it. That kind of that time's passed for me. And I know there are collectors out there that will be very excited about this, but for me it's a fail because they could have done it at a much earlier date.
Beth, welcome to the chat.
Yeah, Beth is now. Beth, you are now caught up. Welcome to the Geek Week Live. But yeah, there we go. The Outriders. Not anything to do with the figures, not anything to do with the design or the tooling or the fact that we're getting them. Just I think it's a fail because they've given us them 2-3 years too late.
Oh, Beth, you'll have to go back on the catch-up, mate. I'm so sorry. What happened there? You had me double checking my channel like crazy. I went, are we live? Are we live? Am I live? Is my channel live? Is everything okay? But yeah, it seems all right. Everything seems to be running smooth.
We're just in an alternate universe where we're not really live.
Apparently
Me and you just talking to each other on a Zoom call here. It's just, is there an audience? There we go.
We needed proof you were live, Dave.
What's your next one?
Oh, right, my next one. So Spider-Ham, every version they've ever released. Do you know what? The Disney Infinity version was better than Marvel Legends version, which is insane. At least they articulated it. But yeah, every version of Spider-Ham so far has been so crap.
It's the one from Into the Spider-Verse is literally an accessory because he doesn't I think his head articulates.
Yeah,
but,
his head moves and wobbles.
Yeah. He looked good, but he was just a little statue of a moving head. And then the kind of comic book accurate one that we got in the Venom wave back in 2019, 2018. They put it out as a full figure, so that was in the box on its own with a Build-A-Figure piece, but obviously they gave us the biggest Build-A-Figure piece with a small figure, and it just wasn't good.
Yeah, no, completely on that one. I've for a character that is now like one of the main characters in the animated Spider-Man stuff, I'm surprised he's not had a proper little figure yet.
The thing is with Spider-Ham as well, like I know it's a kind of a bit of a joke comic and alternate universe and all that kind of stuff, but he had some cool villains that were in keeping with the Spider-Ham theme.
Mm-hmm.
They could easily make it like a mini 2-pack, but
But it was
box
like
it as a single pack.
when they did the Venom thing and they gave us the alternate head for the Venom one, and it was just to stick on a regular Venom body.
Like pork grind, yeah.
It just so lazy.
Yeah.
I know why they were doing it. It was just to fill a gap, but it was so lazy, wasn't it? It would have been a lot better to do it as if they'd have done the 2-pack with the Venom. Is it pork grind? Did you say it's called?
Yeah.
If they'd have done a 2-pack with pork grind and Spider-Ham, that would have probably been the best way about it. And give him some crazy accessories like big oversized mallets and cartoon it. You know what I mean? Like have a box with TNT written on it or something crazy. You know what I mean?
Or even if there was just a few alternate heads, like just different expressions and stuff, similar to the Darkwing Duck that I got from Diamond Select Toys. Like it was a huge box, but you got your figure that was not very big, but then you had like 3 different heads with different expressions, different hands, different accessories, like you said, like oversized stuff and that. And they basically made a huge box out of 2 small figures. And nobody who wanted it complained about purchasing it because you were getting so much in that box. Whereas in reality, the figure size wasn't that much different. I think it stood about 4 inches high. But yeah, I agree. I do agree. All right, in keeping with Spider-Man, then I will say my next one is the No Way Home integrated suit from Marvel Legends. They've done it a few times now. We got it in the 3-pack. We've had it as a single release. We've had it as an unmasked version, and a lot. But they've put this costume out quite a few times. But every single time, they've given him the cuffs, the gold cuffs that he doesn't have in the movie. And it's just kind of like it's a fail because they re-released this and they've upgraded it a couple of times, but they've always used the same tooling. So they've always given him those golden cuffs. And you look at other companies like Hot Toys, for example, when they've done the integrated suit, he's not got the cuffs. So I think it's a fail because they've revisited him and kind of re-released him and not made that change. And the most recent one, I think it's the 3-pack one, is stunning. Like to look at, it's a really nicely done figure, but it's still got those cuffs. And if you do take them off, the forearm is shaped to fit the cuffs, so it's not like you can even pop them off like you can with some cuffs. So you take them off, your Spider-Man figure looks a bit janky because he's got like a big hole in his arm and stuff. So yeah, so it's just a simple one, but that would be on my list of fails.
Well, okay, for me, next one, Hope Summers.
Okay.
Why have we only ever had the one figure for her? She's such a pivotal X-Men.
Yeah, did this one come up on our most wanted list? It did, didn't it?
It did, because it's one of them. She's one of them characters. She's it's the Messiah character from X-Men. Yeah. And they've only ever given us the one figure, and it's so old now, and they've never re-released. They do X-Men waves like every year.
Yep.
It's not like X-Men are hard to come by. They redo and re-release X-Men every year, but they focus on the same 6 characters.
Yeah.
This is why I got mad at kind of a little bit out of Legends for a while, because they do this where they do re-release the same 6 or 7 characters over and over whilst leaving other ones in the dark, and it upsets me.
I agree with you on that one. I used to have that figure when I had a big X-Men display, and she was back from I'm pretty sure it was the Toy Biz days. If it wasn't the Toy Biz days, it was the early. It wasn't it?
Oh, she was Toy Biz, yeah. 100%.
And she had those ball joint hips, which it was just horrible. I could never get her standing in a really solid position. She would always kind of slowly do the splits and kind of bend outwards and fall over and stuff like that. So no, we need her. Definitely. We will 100% need her. There's no two ways about that. I agree with that. So what is your fail? The fact that they haven't released it, they haven't touched it.
Just they gave us one figure like 20 years ago or whatever, 10 years ago, and they've just
Oh no, I lost him. He's frozen up. It is not a flattering picture either, Sorrel. You need to refresh. We have lost him. We have lost him. He is definitely frozen. He'll be back. He'll be back in a second. I don't want to carry on with the list until he's back because that's not fair. But yeah, just following on from his point, they need to give us a new hope. But she did pop up. We did I think it was 2 weeks ago, maybe. We did a most wanted or most desired Marvel Legends figures that we need. And she was on, I think she was on both of our lists. We both said that we needed a new Hope Summers figure because we haven't had her for so long. And she is important. She's a main character in X-Men. She's got some really good storylines around her. So yeah, no, definitely agree with that one. I don't want to move on to my next one because I don't want him to miss it. Dave Nipples has said, I would love a Nova figure because I loved reading the comics as a kid, but none of the ones to date seem quite right. I do agree as well. Like the Nova figures, yeah, not 100%. I think at one point I had most of the ones that Marvel Legends had released, and none of them was kind of to me was the definitive one. They did one recently, which was pretty good, but again, not a completely definitive one. Very quickly, while we are waiting for Sorrell to kind of tune back in, the Ramen Racer, while I'm talking about it, it's obviously done, it's shipped, it's completed. Having spoken to Ramen Toy earlier, they are going to be releasing an updated second version. So if you are seeing videos and pictures and stuff of the Ramen Racer, go and check out Ramen Toy's website and you'll see very soon a new one coming up. Oh, and look who's back. He's back.
Hello.
You're a little bit different. Your camera's a bit different. Did your PC die?
Yeah.
Oh. There he is.
Yeah, give me 1 minute. I'm just sorting it out. My PC died on me.
Oh no. Right, we need to do a GoFundMe so we can get Mr. Sorrell a new PC. I haven't lost you again. He's frozen up again. No, he's there. He's there. We're good. We've got you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Cool.
Cool. Okay, so my next one. So you had Hope Summers down.
Yeah.
The next one I'm going to put in is the No Way Home Green Goblin figure.
Ooh.
Not because it's a bad figure. I think it's a really awesome figure, but there was one design flaw in it, and that was the neck. So it came with the alternate goblin mask that he didn't wear for a huge amount of time in No Way Home.
No.
But a lot of collectors were like, I need that as my Green Goblin in the collection. But because he's got the swappable head, the Osborn head, he's got a flesh-colored neck. And when you put the Goblin mask on, you can still see the neck exposed. So if you put him in any kind of position, you see neck exposed. And a lot of customizers out there and people like RDJ Custom Creations created a little neck piece that went over the top of it.
Yeah.
And blended the costume in. And I just think it's a fail from Hasbro to not include something like that themselves, because clearly there's a market for it because other designers have kind of designed that and people have bought it, but it was just a bit of a fail. It was just a real small oversight that made a massive difference. So that would be the fail to me.
Cool. My next one would be Howard the Duck.
Okay.
Just because, again, similar to what I said about Spider-Ham, they've just never. He's an accessory piece, isn't he? They've never given us a fully articulated one.
No.
Again, there's a hack online with using a Fortnite figure to make him look all right, but he shouldn't have to do that. It should be just like that out of the box. Why did they give us that static body?
Yeah, it was one of them ones. We had a Howard the Duck way back in the day, like a really comic book accurate Howard the Duck. But again, that was just like a solid accessory. And then obviously we got one in the What If wave recently. But yeah, I do agree. I mean that hack with go on.
I was gonna say with the What If wave though, they were even cheeky enough to make it its own figure.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Oh,
That
was a
that was
hard pill to swallow.
yeah, that was a real kick in the teeth. I think that the hack that was created with the Fortnite, the Jonesy figure,
Yeah.
just kind of shows that you can have articulation in a figure that size.
Oh, 100%.
And it still be decent enough. So for those that haven't seen the hack, basically it was one of the 4-inch Jonesy figures, and if you popped off the hands and the feet and the head, and then took the hands and feet and head off of the Howard the Duck figure, you could essentially paint it in and have a fully articulated Howard the Duck. So yeah, I think the biggest fail was putting him in as his own figure.
Oh yeah, 100%. He should have come coupled with someone else.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that would have been a perfect excuse to put Cosmo and him together as like two smaller items.
Yeah. I agree. I do agree. All right. My next one then is the windowless packaging.
Oh, just as a whole.
Just as a whole. Massive fail, because it didn't last, did it? And I get what Hasbro were doing. It was all about environment friendly and all that kind of stuff. But giving us a good year, was it? A good year and a half of figures released in that packet, in that windowless packaging, was just a huge fail for collectors, because there were a lot of collectors that fell off the train or fell off the wagon or whatever the phrase is because of the windowless packaging.
Yeah.
And it's figures like the Spider-Man collectors, for example. We got a lot of Spider-Man figures in windowless packaging that are not going to be released again now with Windows. So things like the hugely anticipated Iron Spider came in windowless packaging. So for any of those collectors that like displaying their figures in boxes, a real key character they can't have displayed and be able to view it. Not to mention all of the QC issues that we faced and people swapping stuff out in Walmart and things like that. You know, it was just a real dark period of time, shall we say. Are you back on PC?
I am.
All right, let's have a look. Oh, he's gone. Hello, there he is.
Oh, I thought you were going to leave me on side by side.
There we go. Taking over.
There's a lot of echo on it.
No, let me drop that one out.
Leave. There we go.
There you go.
All right. I had to kick off the other guy. I don't know who he was.
Yeah, I don't know. He looks familiar. But yeah, windowless packaging just as a whole. What's your next one?
I don't think it's even using that microphone. I always put this down. I don't think I think it's using the microphone in the camera, but I don't know. You never know. I don't think it makes any difference whatsoever.
No, it doesn't.
At some point, I will catch up with technology. I have a potato PC and I need to upgrade badly.
It's all right, mate. It's all right. Go on then. What's your next one?
Now I'm back on PC. I can get my list back up. There we go. So, Blade.
Oh, interesting.
Blade. Every Blade has just not been right.
Not even this one.
No, he's still not accurate. That's not comic accurate in the slightest. That is Wesley Snipes with a comic book head.
Yeah.
That's not comic accurate in the slightest. It looks more like the Midnight Suns game one. Because that's based on the Wesley Snipes one.
That's what I thought. My biggest this is an excellent figure. I really like this figure. But
it's really nice.
You say, the OCD in me is kind of like, I'm not sure where he's from. I'm not sure what comic book he's supposed to be from. And like the sword.
I want a Blade that's got the vest with the bare arms, but then you can swap out the arms for the jacket. Because he does use both. When he fights, he takes the jacket off in the comic books. He very rarely keeps it on.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've never quite hit the nail on the head. And like the last time they gave us the Blade with the shirt, with the jacket off and the sleeveless, they gave us the wrong head. That was like an old school head that looked like the TV version of Blade that came out.
Yeah.
So it's just they've just never quite got the combinations right.
Speaking of heads, though, you know what? I could have even looked past the fact that this isn't completely comic book accurate, because I do like the look of this figure. But the fail for me with this was that you only got this head.
Yeah.
that there wasn't another expression. This was it. You have angry Blade or no
that's
Blade
it.
at all. You have him angry or you don't have him. So yeah, it's a nice figure. But I do agree. And on that note as well, I think it's a massive fail that they haven't gone back and revisited the Wesley Snipes one, because we did have it back in the Toy Biz days. We got a Wesley Snipes with a bike as well. The fact that they haven't,
now.
I think it's probably coming.
I think what you said about a legacy, I think that's 100% coming, just because of the popularity of that movie.
I think so as well. I hope not too soon though, because I am working on a handful of customs, so I want to get the customs out before they kind of announce the official figures. Okay, my next one word: Eternals.
Oh dear.
Eternals. But the reason I say it's a fail isn't probably for the reason that you think. The reason I think it's a fail is because I think they backed the wrong horse. So we had never had a full wave of one movie. It was always kind of intertwined with comic book figures and stuff like that. So the Eternals was the first time where we got a full wave of movie figures with a builder figure from the movie, with the store exclusives from the movie, with a deluxe from the movie, all in one go. Fantastic. So many characters, so many kind of different versions of different characters and different sizes and all that kind of stuff, but for the wrong movie. Like they should have, if they had done that for No Way Home, for example, it would have just blown up the shelves. Like, if they had done a wave of No Way Home figures with a builder figure from No Way Home, with store exclusives, with a deluxe, it could have just broke the internet when it came to pre-orders and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's a fail because they backed the wrong horse. And I'm sure there are now kind of shareholders and stuff like that going, no, you can't touch that because look what happened with the Eternals wave. Not kind of fully aware that the Eternals wave was what it was. And the reason it's a fail as well is that they were all individually sculpted. There was no reuse. They were really beautiful figures. Like the detail and the kind of intricacy of the costumes and everything like that. It was a really well made wave. Yes, it had its flaws. Like Selma Hayek's head did not look like Selma Hayek, but it was just a shame. Back the wrong horse on that one.
Yeah, I think because of what happened with that movie and how it flopped so big and they made all them figures. I think because of that now because like they used to release figures pretty close to movies, if not at the same time. And now all of a sudden they wait a good 6 months before figures come out. I think Hasbro have kind of been bitten by that now and are kind of like, we'll wait and see if the film performs before we start pumping figures out, which I get.
Yeah. So yeah, I just think that as a whole, it was just a fail, just because it was backing the wrong horse.
Because when we were kids, they would put out films long before the films came out. You would have the product in hand months before the films, and then you would kind of that would be your introduction to the movie. Would be the toys.
Yep.
But yeah, it's now the other way around now.
Yeah. Yep. No, completely agree. But yeah, that is a wave for numerous reasons.
For me, another one that I don't think they've ever gotten right ever is Warpath.
Nope.
Warpath / Thunderbird, his big brother. Both of them, the Warpath, they tried to give us the native version, which is cool. It's comic accurate. It's old school, but he never really wore that much in the comics. The Warpath that everybody knows is the black and grey, the X-Force Warpath. That's the one we kind of had for the majority of his run in the comics.
He did show up on that leaked list, I think, didn't he?
He did. But it was also the. Do you remember back in the day they gave us the 3-pack and you got all 3 in the 3-pack, didn't you? Mm-hmm. It's basically
with
that.
Archangel and stuff, wasn't it?
It's basically that again. I think they're going to put out Archangel in the X-Force color pattern with Warpath in the color pattern, which would make sense.
Yeah. I agree though, because it's one of those ones. I mean, he's not really shown up in other media, has he? I mean, I know he was in Gifted.
He was in Gifted. I think that's where his popularity came back to the forefront, was because of that program. Along with what's it called? Not Silo. Laura's character, Laura Dawn,
Oh yeah.
Xavier's other daughter,
Oh, what are you doing to me? I
Polaris.
know.
Polaris.
Polaris.
Her
I was like, why can I not
popularity
think?
after
Yes.
Gifted came out, all of a sudden they gave her a couple of new figures over the years.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
mean, and they gave us the Cuckoos, and they did pump out figures pretty close to what was in that film, in that
Yeah.
TV series. So yeah, it would make sense to give us another Warpath.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think that the shame of it is we haven't seen him in other media. So like he's not been in kind of. It would have been a perfect place to put him in X-Men '97. Like he would have been a very welcome addition to.
Obviously, he was in the X-Men movies. I mean, he was in Days of Future Past. He was played by Boo Boo Stewart.
Yeah.
Who was in Descendants, because he's a real life martial artist, and he played Warpath pretty well because he could actually do all the kicks and all the jiu-jitsu stuff. But yeah, he's a pretty good person to play it. But
It's also a 2-pack that I'm surprised they haven't, to do Thunderbird and Warpath. Like that would be a really good 2-pack. Like put some effort into the sculpting, really go for a popular comic book accurate look, and they could give us a really good 2-pack.
Yeah, I mean that black and grey Warpath, I know because I sold mine. I've got to admit, when I was selling up, I did sell mine because he sells for silly money on eBay.
Yeah.
You're talking £90+ now for that to get him in
Ridiculous.
the black and grey.
For an old figure.
So
as well.
old, yeah, it's so old as well. Because I've still got the Deadpool that came with him, the blue and yellow Deadpool.
Really?
I think they did do a re-release of that one, didn't they? Eventually, I think.
Yeah, they did. They did. All right. Speaking of Deadpool, my next one would be the original Deadpool 1 and 2 figures that they did.
Yeah.
So they did 3 versions, I think. They did a single pack, they did a dusty version, and they did the 2-pack with Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that they are on my list as fails is because if you remember rightly, the guns that were accurate, the Desert Eagles that he has in his holsters, were glued into the holsters. They didn't come out. But then what added insult to injury is they threw in 2 generic space looking guns for you to give Deadpool, and it was like, they don't look like Deadpool's weapons. You've given us the weapons, you've tooled the weapons, and you've glued them into the holsters. But then what really put salt in the wound was that there was a hack online using a scalpel. You could cut the glue and actually release the guns, and they were fully sculpted like Desert Eagles that looked accurate.
That was at the time where Hasbro were having issues, weren't there, with violence and guns. Because all the G.I. Joes come with the wildest of weapons that aren't quite accurate.
Yeah.
They're getting better with it, but they are always a little bit over the top, aren't they?
I do get it, and I kind of understand why, but I think it's a fail because instead of people going, look at these really cool figures, they were going, why have you done this to us? And it kind of took a lot of the heat away from the kind of how good they were, because we got a lot of figures for Deadpool movies, considering it was not in the MCU. It was it was a 20th Century Fox studio and that kind of stuff. At the time we had Deadpool, we had Negasonic Teenage Warhead, we had Domino, we had Cable, we had the dusty version of Deadpool. Like, they were pumping out a lot of figures, but yet glued the Desert Eagles into place. So maybe they did it knowing that people were going to cut them out and show them off. But yeah, I cut mine out very quickly, and it was only when I was putting this list together that I remembered that they were stuck in the first place. I was like, wow. So I'm curious as to know whether these new version of the figures to do with Deadpool and Wolverine are going to have that same issue, or whether they're going to address that.
Ones, surely.
I think they're saving that. I think they're saving those. So yeah, there we go. Deadpool's super glued guns.
I hope they give us the charming Deadpool, or whatever they've called him. Happy
Nice
Deadpool.
Pool.
Nice Pool. I do hope we get him.
I got a custom version of him in the works. So
Right,
again, give us one, but just wait a little while until I finish my custom. So we should have 3 more each. Is that right?
Yeah, my last 3 are kind of like a 3-for-1 though. I went for the X-Force 3 pack. Well, it's not even a 3-pack, is it? They gave us 1 body, 3 heads, 3 hands, 3 lot of accessories.
Danny Moonstar, and then
Danny Moonstar, Wolf. Is it Wolf's Bane?
Wolfsbane, yeah.
And I forgot her name.
Go
The
on.
one that should have a false leg that didn't.
Yeah.
Every time.
Oh, no.
That was just lazy.
But that to
They had a
me,
generic body and they just put 3 heads in and went, there you go, done.
yeah, I mean
That would have
think,
worked for that worked with like the Cuckoos because they are identical. That worked for them.
yeah.
But he still had to buy 3 bodies. He still had to buy 3 figures, and then he ended up with all the spare heads. So it still didn't work in the long run, technically.
No, I do completely agree.
And it's funny how they've never done this again since they did the Cuckoos and they did the X-Force, and they've never done it again because it didn't go down well at all with creators, with the collectors.
No, it really didn't. It really didn't. So yeah, I mean, like the Stepford Cuckoos, like you say, it wasn't X-Force, it was New Mutants.
New Mutants, sorry, yeah.
What the Stepford Cuckoos, like you say, they are absolutely identical. So yeah, it did work. I think what made this worse for me was that they were, I think they were a store exclusive.
They were both were. So
I'm
so
just
the
having a
Cuckoos,
look.
they were Target, weren't they, or Walgreens or something?
Yeah.
I think it might be Walgreens. But in the UK, obviously, we got them through our online retailers.
Well, you know what? For
But you could
me,
only order 1 at a time, which was annoying.
the
Order 3.
the Stepford Cuckoos, I actually got someone in. I got one of my friends in America to send me over the send me one over because I couldn't actually get them over here. I'm just trying to see. Hang on 2 seconds. Let me have a look. Yeah, hang on. Talk about her a sec. I'm just trying to find something on it.
This was back in the day when me, Jacob, Dave, Dan, who, and a couple of others would basically race one another to who could get the reviews and pictures out first.
Yeah.
I used to love those days, to be honest. But you used to sit there and you'd see one of us would post the video and you'd be like, damn it, I hate you. Because we all wanted to be the first one to get.
But the Stepford Cuckoos and this was a Walgreens exclusive. There we go. Walgreens exclusive. That's what I was looking for, where it came from. So it's a Walgreens exclusive. But these Walgreens exclusives and the Stepford Cuckoos as well, they were, and it was hard for us to get hold of them over here in the UK. They weren't, like I said, my friend, I was able to pick up two. No, I was able to pick up 2 of the Stepford Cuckoos, but picking the third one up was actually quite difficult. And like I said, I had to get one of my friends in America to send me it over. Hang on, I'm just having a look at this one here. It's really annoying me now. I can't remember who the third character was. It was Wolfsbane, Danny Moonstar. Who was the?
She's the one. She's the one I could never remember.
Who was the third one? Yeah, Karma.
Because she was one that had
that
the
was
false
it.
leg in the comic.
Karma
prosthetic
with
leg.
a K. Well, that's what really frustrated me about it, because Wolfsbane, okay, you know, she's supposed to have like the feral hands and the feral feet.
It frustrated you. That was the only representation I had.
Why did it frustrate you? I have no idea. No, but you know,
the one character in comics that has a falsity other than Forge and Cable. They're the only characters I have. Don't take them away from me.
Echo.
We don't.
No, but what I mean is, what the reason it frustrated me is because, like you said, it was lazy. Because for Wolfsbane, fair enough. Like, you know, you could pop the other head on and you could kind of go, oh, she's got boots and gloves on. You know, that's covered. You know, it's not. You know, yes, it would be great to have the hands and the feet and all the rest of it, but you could get away with it. But with Karma, like in the comic book, she has that prosthetic leg, and it's very much on show. It's very much part of her costume. To kind of just give you the head and kind of go, oh yeah, well she's covered it up. It's like, no, like give us that leg. Like,
could you imagine the uproar if they'd have just done magic in that costume without the metal arm and stuff? Can you imagine the uproar?
Massive, yep, massive. But yeah, so I'm totally on board with that. It was a fun one to customize. I actually used the
was.
TX figure from McFarlane and used the leg from that and swapped it out for Karma.
And obviously, it gave us so many customs because, like, I used those bodies for my cuckoos to make them more
Yeah.
accurate, and I
Okay.
put the short bobbed Emma Frost heads on them because obviously they're her
Nice.
sisters. So I used them for my cuckoos for the longest time because they look more accurate.
Perfect. All right then. So my other three, I'll do them quicker than I won't drag them out because obviously you've done a 3-for-1. The first one is the Pulse exclusive. I think it was 2022 Pulse exclusive Venom, cell shaded Venom.
Yeah.
The reason it was a fail was because it had those big neck holes in the neck, in the shoulder, and there was nothing to go in them. And it was a lovely looking figure at the time. Like obviously they re-released it for the 85th anniversary and just taken away the cell shading. But at the time, it was a really cool Venom, and it's still one of my main ones in my collection. But you had these big holes in the shoulder kind of neck piece, and they could have very easily put some symbiotic bits kind of coming out of them, but instead they just left these big holes. So even on the promo pictures, you saw like these holes where they were kind of putting it in different positions. So that was it for me.
Didn't he have the wrong chest emblem as well on that one? If I remember
No, I
rightly.
think the emblem. No, it was okay.
There was one. I remember there was one Venom once that came out and it had the wrong chest emblem on.
I don't think it was that one.
I thought it was that one because I remember everyone moaning about the holes and then even the chest was inaccurate or something.
Oh, maybe I'll have to look into that. I got so caught up in the holes that I left it at that. The next one on my list, the number 2 on my list, is the recent, very very recent Deadpool Wolverine wave, because they gave us 3 figures. Deadpool looks stunning. Wolverine, absolute home run. But they then gave us a third figure, which was civilian clothed Logan with blue boots to match his costume and the gloves in his pocket, and then Headpool. It's just a figure that no one wanted, no one needed. And they had so many variants of Wolverine that they could have given us. They could have given us one of those other variants instead of that figure. But the reason I think it's a fail is that we all know now that this film has been like the biggest thing since sliced bread in recent months. It's smashed all sorts of records and all that kind of stuff. Why they didn't do what they did with Eternals for Deadpool is beyond me. Like they could have pumped out a full wave of figures, especially with all those cameos and stuff, tooled them all up, teased us with those first 2, waited 3 weeks for the film to be out, and then given us the rest of the wave. But it's very obvious from the back of the box that there are just those 3 figures in that bundle. It's not like there are another 5 figures coming. Not to say that they won't approach that and do figures later on down the line, but it was just a massive missed opportunity. I think if they had done a full wave, pre-orders would sell. Well, you can see from these figures, the pre-orders have sold out everywhere. And they've just missed a massive opportunity with all the different characters and cameos and variants of Deadpool, even just other characters in the film, variants of Wolverine. They could have given us so much. And instead, they decided to give us a civilian clothed Wolverine that I don't even think showed up in the film.
No.
I don't remember.
It was the Fox one, wasn't it? Just repainted.
Yeah, I don't.
Is it the same one we've already had?
I wasn't interested in it at all. I was like, yes, I'll have a Wolverine, I'll have a Deadpool, but I'm not interested in the weird Logan.
I honestly think all these variants and logos that will come, I just think it's taking the time to get the licensing and all that issues out of the way. But I genuinely think they're gonna churn out. We're gonna get all sorts of random stuff coming out. There's no way they're not gonna give us Cassandra Nova. She's a shoo-in for a figure. She was a great villain. I think she's definitely going to have to get a figure. There's no way they're not going to give us a Channing Tatum just because of the fact that he's never going to show up again. I think that's one and done for him.
I don't know. There's rumours floating the internet now that after Deadpool Wolverine, they've greenlit certain things that weren't greenlit before.
Yeah, there's lots of rumours. I mean, Ryan Reynolds can do no wrong in Hollywood right now. And he's lobbying for a Blade movie and all sorts of randomness. So we'll see what happens. But they're all gonna get figures, aren't they? Wesley Snipes' Blade's gonna pop up. We're gonna see the Channing Tatum one definitely.
Yeah.
I think they're definitely shooing. But even I think we'll get a Deadpool very, very soon with the Wolverine claws, with the Wolverine head and stuff.
Yeah.
Like Metal Corpse. I think that'll be a thing. Just
Yeah.
because it was so, it's so easy to do the claws that fit over the top, like you've already seen, like your IDJ Customs, was it, that made it for you?
Yep. Yeah.
So I mean, yeah,
I've
people
got,
are already buying third-party ones. There's no way Hasbro's not going to make it.
I got a couple of customizers that have the stuff is in the post to me. I'll label everyone properly when I do posts on Instagram and that. But you know, the Wolverine claws is one, the Channing Tatum head's another one. I've got a full blade body kit coming from another. Like they're all there. A couple of others that are more legacy figures, but people are really going hard on these older characters now because there is a market for them, and people have watched this film and kind of gone, yeah, I need that figure. So what was a kind of a pipe dream back in the day now is a much more of a reality.
Yeah.
Okay, so my number one Hasbro fail, not Hasbro fail, Marvel Legends fail, and I might get shot for saying this, but I think it's the HasLab Sentinel.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think it is the biggest Marvel Legends fail of all time.
Why?
Because it set the expectation for what the HasLab vehicle is.
Yeah.
And it was the first ever Marvel Legends HasLab, which is great. Really exciting. This is fantastic. It was a really well calculated decision to do a Sentinel because we've got hundreds of X-Men figures, and then all of a sudden we've got the Sentinel. This is great. The backing for it, like, shot out like all guns blazing, and it funded in 24 hours or whatever it was. It opened up to the international markets within like the first few days. They were able to put it in. I think it was Zavi UK, wasn't it, that actually did it for the like the UK and Ireland and stuff. But it set the expectation. So where the speed of it and the trajectory of it took off so fast, it was hitting tier levels before tiers were even a thing for it. So what they were doing is they were like, right, we've hit this many backers, we're going to also give you this, and we're also going to give you this. And they kind of threw a lot of things at us before the tier levels even came into play. And then it kind of like was like, oh, actually, well, if we hit 15,000, we're going to throw in another head. And everyone went, this is amazing. Bing, 15,000. And it was like, okay, we've hit that. So if we hit that, we're also going to give you this. And it bing, straight away, literally within hours of that thing being announced, we're hitting the tiers. And with that figure, we got the base figure, we got the battle damaged hand and head. We got two we got Bastion and the humanoid. We got the female Sentinel. We also got a head for the male Sentinel, so you could swap the Bastion figure over. We then got we had the tentacle already, but then they threw in another tentacle, so you could have one coming out of each arm. We then got the master mold head as a digital render, because it was kind of like, you know what, we've got so many backers backing this thing, we're also going to throw in a master mold head. And then the master mold head they showed us, and then they went, we're going to give you a tri-sentinel head as well if we can hit this many people. And it just flew past all of the tier levels. And the reason why I think it's a fail is because people have taken the excitement and the success of that HasLab and set an expectation. So as soon as a HasLab, especially the Marvel ones for some reason, as soon as they're announced, people are going, well, what are the tiers? What are we going to hit? Where are we going to go? You know, tiers should be part of the thing, because that's how it felt with the Sentinel, because we were hitting all those levels before without people really even noticing we were hitting them. It felt like you were just purchasing a whole thing. It never felt like any of those tiers were unreachable. Whereas now the expectation is, well, if you're going to give us a Mephisto, if we get 20,000, why don't you just give it to us now? If we're going to get this, why don't you just give it to us now? And we saw it with Galactus. We saw it with Giant Man. We saw it with the Hellcharger. Like every HasLab since, the general expectation is, well, you should just give us all of those things. And I think that's why the success of the Sentinel ultimately became a fail, because people assume that that's how it should work, and not getting into profit and loss and greed and all that kind of stuff that people throw at the HasLab projects. The base offering is what the HasLab project is. That's what you're backing. Anything else past that is a bonus. And if they're going to throw other things at us because so many people have backed it, then that's a bonus. You back something because of that base level. And yeah, that's why I think the Sentinel is ultimately a fail, because it's set unrealistic expectations for the general collector.
Agree, yeah.
Poor as a rant, wasn't it? I love the Sentinel. I've got here. You can see him just there behind my boxes. Where is he?
I've never liked the idea of Hasbro HasLabs anyway. I've never liked the idea of them. I don't think they're good. I don't think they're good for the collector community. I think they're pretty poor. I've just never agreed with them personally.
It's a difficult one, because it's, especially when you look at figures like Hot Toys. So like the new Deadpool Hot Toy figure came out from Deadpool and Wolverine. It was released pretty much in time with the release of the movie, and the UK price on it was about 450 quid. Like, it was an expensive Hot Toys figure. It was good. It came with a whole bunch of accessories. People threw their mortgages at this thing. They were just like, yep, I need that. I need it on my shelf. And the pre-orders sold out and all the rest of it. And that was a lot more than any of these HasLab projects have been up at. But yet, because the HasLab projects are aimed at people that are used to spending $25 on a figure, spending $400 on a figure is extortionate. And I think that's where it's a little bit difficult.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's not that for me. That isn't the reason I hate them. That isn't the reason I hate the projects. It's not the money. I get that some things are going to cost more money. If people want it, they're going to back it. But I've just never liked the idea that they constantly try, as you say, the Sentinel set a certain bar. Then they did Galactus, which I think upped that bar. And now it's like, well, the Hellcharger by comparison was meek. But if that would have come first before the Sentinel, it would have sold out within minutes.
Yeah. Yep.
But because they've set this bar that high, the prices are going up because the shareholders want more money. At the end of the day, they're a company that are out to make money. They're a public company. So the Sentinel set a certain price boundary. The Galactus upped that. Anything else now has to be above that. So the Hellcharger had to be a certain price to get it off the ground. But the problem is, it was too high. So, but if they would have done that before the Sentinel, I think that price would have been about 300 quid, and it would have sold.
Yeah, and I think you look at Giant Man and you look at the Hellcharger. Galactus, not so much, because, like you say, Galactus took what we had from the Sentinel and upped it. Like, you know, Galactus is one of the biggest characters in the Marvel comic universe. Like, having a HasLab Galactus, I didn't get one. I wasn't interested in it, but I completely see the fascination and the desire to have one for a lot of collectors. So that one kind of we graze over because it did step it up. But the Giant Man and the Hellcharger, we saw that element of, well, what are you going to give me? If I back this, what else am I going to get? You know, show me what else I'm going to have. And that's why I think that they should just kind of put them out as this is what it is. And then, similar to the Sentinel, if they reach a certain level, go, you know what, guys, we've reached this level, we're also going to throw this in. Because then everyone that's backed it is going to go, yeah, this is amazing. And then it's going to encourage other people to back it as well. Too many people sit back and go, well, if it reaches 20,000 and we unlock all of these tiers, then I'll back it. So, yeah.
Yeah, like for me, they always use that excuse of we can't put certain characters out like Satana because of what she is. And like Goblin Queen, for years they always said we couldn't put her out at mass retail because of the style of character. The HasLab is made for that. So if they should literally be able to go, right, these 6 figures, you're after them. We're going to put them in a bundle. here's the price of that bundle, and we're going to fund it as a HasLab project. Rather than send it to mass retail where it won't do as well because they're Satan characters or whatever, stick it out on Hasbro Pulse, and that should be how it works. That's what Mattel do at Mattel Creations, and every single one of their projects funds more or less. There's only the bigger ones that haven't funded. Some of the bigger projects have kind of failed. But like the ones where they go, oh, we're going to put this Monster High doll out, or we're going to put this action figure out, they sell out within seconds. Because I've missed out now on about 5 Monster High dolls because of it.
I'm still here. My camera's decided it's had
like
enough.
when they did the Morticia and Wednesday 2-pack, that sold out within seconds on the Monster High website.
Yeah. And I 100% agree. Like Dave Nipples in the comments has said, like crowdfunding is great for smaller companies, but I don't see the need for Hasbro to do it.
Yeah.
And I do agree. I do agree to an extent. There is no need for a bigger company to do it, because obviously they do have that financial backing. But I understand the crowdfunding vehicle to fund certain things, to kind of go, if we get this amount of people doing it, we're allowed to press go on it. I do get that, but my fail isn't for here I'm back again. My fail isn't for the HasLab vehicle. It's for the Sentinel setting the bar at an unrealistic level for future projects, because as you say, it kind of goes up and then it goes down.
And as Dave says in the thing about the crowdfunding with the Brutal Realm figures, they do look cool, but I am waiting for Mattel to drop a nice big cease and desist on them, because they have basically just created He-Man, a realistic version of He-Man, and it looks like He-Man. So I'm just waiting patiently for a cease and desist.
That's
it's in the it's so close. It's so close.
Yeah, it's
depends where they're coming from, doesn't it? Because I know like Ram and Racer, I know they escape it because of where they're based, like over in the Philippines and stuff like that. There's a lot less copyright issues out east, isn't there?
But the thing is that the Ram and Racer, it is slightly different. Yeah, it is slightly different because it's a vehicle at the end of the day.
But some of that, I mean, some of their other projects, like Silverhawks, things like that, they are literally just lifting them from other things without a license.
The Brutal Realm, though, like they've still got like 4 days to go, and their goal was just over 100,000, and they're on like 150,000. They've got like nearly 700 backers with 4 days to go. I think they're going to get away with it though, because it's not that they're just like barbarians, aren't they?
Yeah, it looks very close.
Yeah, there are some figures in there that are, like you say, are very close. They do look a little bit, but I don't know. I think they've probably changed stuff enough to, it's Cronin, I think it is, looks very He-Man-esque.
Cronin, yeah.
But then he's a blonde barbarian. It's but it's the axe for me. The axe for me with him makes it look He-Man-esque to have that axe on his back. But I think they look good. I think the other one, the Croman or whatever his name is, looks too much like Conan. And the fact that they've called him Croman, they've literally called him. Okay, fair enough. He's got a big tattoo of a crow across his chest, but he's called Croman and he looks like Conan. But they are awesome figures. They really are awesome figures.
Oh, it's like the Monster Force figures. They're amazing. The fresh Monkey Fiction stuff. They're killing it. It looks like we are going to get them in the UK thanks to Kapow Toys. It looks like they've
really
got some form of pipeline. Yeah, because you can pre-order Dracula and Van Helsing and the Mummy.
Oh, nice.
All through Kapow Toys. If you go on there and put in Dracula, you'll find him straight away, and he looks badass, man. I want him.
That's pretty cool.
He's going to fit in perfectly with your Marvel Legends as well, because it's the right scale, and he looks like a proper Dracula from the comics.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
He looks so good.
See, but they've even done tier levels on this Brutal Realm as well.
It's the norm now, isn't it, for crowdfunding?
Yeah. They've unlocked the first tier, and they're pretty close to unlocking the second tier, which is
Because
Mate, they're
when we were
really cool
doing
looking.
goblins, we instantly had to think about what tiers we wanted to do.
What we were going to put in, yeah. But at least like with ours, for example, we did a whole base offering, didn't we? And then there were some tiers in there, but yeah, these. Oh, mate, I kind of want to get on board with these. These look really cool.
Oh, the real. Some of the,
They
do
look
you know
really-
what? Some of the fantasy figures that are coming out these days from these small studios are amazing.
Do you know which one that really gets me though? And I don't think we're going to see it made. But their 5th tier unlocked at 205,000 is a deluxe General Grimskull, and it is basically a barbarian Darth Vader. He's even got a glowing red sword. Have you seen it?
Mm-hmm.
It's literally Darth Vader.
I had to stop watching Dave's channel, Displaying Model Behavior, because he's obviously out in Japan, and he keeps posting all these third party and like dinosaurs and ape characters and amazing like kung fu pandas and I'm just watching his channel going, I want all of these. I'm on like what do you call it, Temu and places like that, trying to find things.
Oh, I know. Some of them are brilliant. Some of them are absolutely brilliant. Oh, that looks really good though. That does look really good. But there you go.
I've been watching people's videos on that Anubis figure that came from Mythic Legions, and I missed out on that one. I slept on that one, and I'm annoyed now because that Anubis looks amazing.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it really does. No, there we go. But that's our list. Our Marvel Legends fails. Had quite a few people commenting along, whether they agree and don't agree and all that kind of stuff. Let us know your thoughts. If you're watching this on catch up, then obviously do let us know if you agree. Are there any things in there that we missed? Are there any that we should have added? Let us know. Are you surprised by any of mine or
no? I think we're pretty much agreed on all of them.
Yeah. And as I said, I mean, this isn't a bash at Hasbro at all. Like, there's a lot of good products out there. Just our kind of thoughts on things that missed the mark.
I am looking forward to next week's show. Remember what we said we're going to do?
What are we doing next week? I can't remember.
So obviously it's my last show before I go to Florida because you've got got a couple of guests on, haven't you, while I'm away?
Yes, got a couple of guests actually. So while Sorrell's while you're away in Florida, the first week we got old Ryan Speaks Geek joining us as my co-host. Hopefully Sorrell's going to be able to tune in, but Ryan Speaks Geek is going to be back here for the whole show as my co-host, which is really good. And we're going to talk retro toys and play sets, which I'm really excited about. And then the following week after that, we've got Triple G coming in as co-host, just joining the show for the longevity.
Both of them, haven't you? I think both of them. I said.
I know. Yeah, we've got Triple G and James. Yeah,
and James. James is going to jump in as well. So you basically got the One Good Scare Boys.
So yeah, the One Good Scare but One's Good Scare Boys are on. And obviously we're going to hope that Sorrell can tune in and join us. But you're out in Florida, so if you can't, because you're in a parade or something, that's cool.
The first Sunday will be my first night at Halloween Horror Nights. So hopefully I'll be able to get a signal and I'll be tuning in live from the park and you'll be able to see some scare actors. Hopefully I'll be able to go take you for a walk through a house or two, maybe.
That would be really cool. So
that should be fun.
I really need to get back. To Florida.
I know I've been talking to Shelley on Messenger and about it all afternoon. She's been messaging me, telling me how excited she is. Obviously, she went out there. She went to all the like Ollie's and Target and Walgreens. And normally I'm on Disney property, so I kind of struggle to get. Once you're in Lake Buena Vista, you're kind of stuck where there's no one around you for miles. But this time I'm literally on iDrive. I'm literally in the heart of Orlando, so we'll be able to hit up all the Spirit Halloweens, Hot Topics, Ollie's.
Amazing.
So
see, that's our way of doing it. Whenever we do it, we always stay off site so that we can hit all of those kind of in and around the holiday. And on the days that we don't go into the park, we'll go around and do all the shops and stuff like that. Bethany said, if Jacob went live in a car, you can do something in Florida. Hey, cop. Jacob went live in a car. I did. I went live in a car in North Wales. It just like, in a car, North Wales, no lighting. But I did it. No, the reason we got the co-hosts in is because, we wanted to kind of theme the show. We wanted to have something that we were going to talk about. And
plus, it would have been a fun show for Jacob if my signal is dire, because you can never guarantee. Like last time I was away, I was in Orlando, I was in Disney World, and I was kind of able to join off and on for like 5 and 10 minutes at a time, but the internet would always drop out at some point. There's that many people using it, so you can't guarantee that you're going to be able to get a signal worthy enough to be able to stay for the whole 90 minutes. No. So I think the idea of getting Ryan and stuff is just to keep the show ticking over while I'm away, but hopefully I will be there live chatting away. But it'll be what, 3 o'clock in the afternoon my time when you're doing this.
Yeah. So next week's show, what are we talking next week's show?
Next week's show. So it's the last week before I go away, and while I'm away, it's Hasbro PulseCon.
Yes,
that is on Friday the 13th of September. So we thought we would do a prediction show next week, ready for that, which will be good. It'll be a couple of weeks early, but at least we'll get our predictions out before everyone else. So they can't say we've copied them. So we'll get our predictions out next Sunday. So if you guys want to join in with us as well, have your predictions ready for next Sunday's show.
Yes. And we're obviously going to talk mainly Marvel, but we are going to touch on the other properties as well.
I'll touch on some Star Wars, and because I've got a feeling we're going to get some Ghostbusters. I've got a feeling we're going to get some certain items. I think we're going to get Dungeons and Dragons. I think we're going to see some more figures this time around. We'll touch on a few things. You don't have to have a list for all those, Jacob. I know you're not as big on those other franchises. But
Ghostbusters, yes.
Yeah, Ghostbusters, yeah.
Star Wars, I've got a couple of ideas. Marvel, I've got a few ideas. But the thing is we got to remember is PulseCon, so we're not going to be talking about hundreds of figures per franchise. It's going to be a few at best. We might see a wave or two announced or something kind of pipeline announced, but it's not going to be hundreds and hundreds of figures. But I've got a few ideas up my sleeve.
I'm hoping we're going to see with PulseCon this year the return of Power Rangers. I'm hoping they're going to give us something for that. The line's been quiet for quite some time. Yeah,
I think we're definitely going to see Ghostbusters. I think that HasLab's going to make an appearance at PulseCon.
Oh, yeah,
but there we go. So yes, tune in next week, episode 167, where we talk PulseCon predictions, and then we'll obviously be back the following weeks with Ryan Speaks Geek and the One Good Scare Boys. But yes, this has been our Marvel Legends Fails show. So thank you very much for tuning in. We do appreciate all of you. We've tried our best to get to some of the comments, but we've not put them up on the screen just because of us being in the flow. But yes, a couple of people have put their own predictions in. So we'll go back and we'll read through the comments and obviously highlight any. But yes, it's been a fun show. Thank you very much for tuning in. Of course, check the description of the video for all of our links and bits and pieces. Go follow SuperSorrell stuff over on his channels. Go follow mine over on my channels. And of course, tune in next week for episode 167. Anything I missed?
Yeah, just to add in, I've just literally gone on because I just thought I'd quickly look. I went on PulseCon on the website for HasbroPulse.com, went onto the PulseCon section and looked up what brands will be participating as a part of their FAQs. And they've said the participating brands for this year's event will be Transformers, G.I. Joe, Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, Star Wars, and Marvel. So no mention of Ghostbusters or Power Rangers there, people.
Interesting. Let's do our predictions next week.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Till next week. Keep it geek.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and of course subscribe. Tune in next week for another live show. Until then, keep it geek. www.geekweekinreview.co.uk